What is the empirical formula of a compound? The empirical formula is the simplest possible whole number ratio of the atoms of each element present in that compound. Take, for example, glucose, which has a molecular formula, C6H12O6. However, its empirical formula is CH2O. This is because if you take the ratio of the atoms of the elements present in glucose, C to H to O, which is 6 to 12 to 6. 6 to 12 to 6 simplifies to 1 atom of carbon, to 2 atoms of hydrogen, to 1 atom of oxygen, giving you the empirical formula of glucose, CH2O. However, how would you calculate empirical formula in a typical question they could ask you in the GCSE exam? An organic compound has this percentage composition by mass: 19.2% carbon, 4% hydrogen, 12.8% oxygen, and 64% bromine. So you start off by writing the ratio of these percentages of the elements. So C to H to O to Br. And in terms of percentages, the ratios are 19.2 to 4 to 12.8 to 64. Then you divide each of these percentages by the relative atomic mass of each element. So for carbon, looking at the periodic table, that would be 12. Hydrogen's relative atomic mass is 1. Oxygen's is 16. And then finally, bromine is 80. And then use the calculator to calculate these. So 19.2 divided by 12 is 1.6. 4 divided by 1 is 4. 12.8 divided by 16 is 0.8. And then 64 divided by 80 is 0.8 as well. Empirical formula is the simplest possible whole number ratio, and these are decimals. So you get over that problem by finding the smallest number out of the results you have here, and the smallest number is 0.8. So you divide all of these figures by the smallest number. So 1.6 over 0.8, 4 over 0.8, 0.8 over 0.8, and then 0.8 over 0.8, and then calculate these. Again, you can use the calculator. So 1.6 over 0.8 is 2. 4 divided by 0.8 is 5. And then 0.8 divided by 0.8 is 1, and then 1 again. So then, using these now whole number results, we can write the empirical formula as C2H5OBr. There's another way that they can ask a very similar question. Because they can either ask you to calculate empirical formula given percentages, but they can also ask you given masses. So let's look at this example. So in figure 8, the letters A, E, G, J, X, and Z show the positions of 6 elements in the periodic table. These letters are not the symbols of the atoms of these elements. In an experiment, 3.5 grams of element A reacted with 4 grams of element G to form a compound. Calculate the empirical formula of this compound. So looking at the important bits of information in the question, 3.5 grams of A, 4 grams of G. So you only have 2 elements in this compound. So you start off again by working out the ratios. So A to G. And instead of percentages, which we had in the previous question, we now have masses. But it's exactly the same way to calculate the empirical formula. So A was 3.5 grams to G, which is 4 grams. And then again, you just divide by the relative atomic mass of each element. So A has a relative atomic mass of 7. G has a relative atomic mass of 16. So 3.5 over 7, 4 over 16. And then get out the calculator again. 3.5 over 7 is 0.5. 4 divided by 16 it's a quarter, so it's 0.25. And again, find the smallest number, divide throughout by it. So in this case, it's 0.25. So 0.5 over 0.25, 0.25 over 0.25. So this gives you a whole number ratio of 2 to 1. So the empirical formula of this compound is A to G. I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, then please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.